Hey everyone, I'm Mary Joanna. The topic of today's short talk is Test Her, My Dudes. It is absolutely essential that you test women before you enter into sexual relationships with them. Women have figured this out a long time ago. Women test men all the time. Unfortunately, due to their poor optionality, the average guy doesn't think to test a woman who shows interest in him. He's just happy to be there. Unfortunately, this attitude significantly increases the likelihood that he will get involved with a dangerous, difficult, or disordered woman on a long enough time frame. I'm here today to teach guys how to go about avoiding that. To be honest, I'll probably have to do several episodes on the subject, but hey, you've got to start somewhere. Now, there are many different kinds of women you're going to want to avoid getting involved with, and one of these kinds I call a bomb. What do bombs do? They explode, sometimes at the slightest touch. Bombs are women who are going to explode at you the first time you don't do something right or the first time you do something wrong. And I'm putting those words in quotes because their notion of right and wrong is almost never connected to some kind of extrapolated morality and is almost always based on their own subjective interests and goals. That is, right is what she wants and wrong is what she doesn't. Those who give her what she wants are good. Those who don't are bad, or unhealthy, or toxic, or sexist, and so on. When you touch a bomb the wrong way, and boy are some of these bombs touchy, they're going to explode. And they're going to explode with all the force of being convicted in their own self-righteousness. She might yell, pout, call you names, throw things, or threaten the continued basis of the relationship. These are all forms of immaturity and emotional dysregulation at best, and may be signs of more significant personality dysfunction at worst. It should go without saying, but here it is. This is a type of woman that you absolutely do not want to have a relationship with. Why? Because only one of two outcomes is inevitable here. Either she's going to keep exploding, and you're either going to spend a significant portion of your relationship fighting or conducting damage control, or you're going to end up tiptoeing around her trigger points and walking on eggshells. In either case, your life is going to be stressful and unnecessarily complicated. Much better to just not get involved in the first place. Now, the good news is that this type of woman is actually very easy to avoid. Indeed, in the majority of cases, you can identify them before you even meet them, which will save you a good deal of time, energy, and money. So how do you do that? Well, what does the bomb squad do when they encounter a suspicious package? They take it to a safe location and they perform a controlled detonation. They set it off. This renders the bomb, if it is a bomb, safe and harmless. And if it isn't a bomb, they can move forward with their business. But better safe than sorry, right? To understand why this works, let's briefly consider the professional equivalent. Given that the same economic principles govern behavior in the dating market and in the job market, they're actually eerily similar to one another. As I've said before, dating is really an extended hiring process, and men are the employers because they're in a position to extend a relationship opportunity to a woman. In the context of a job market, one of the functions of an interview is to weed out problematic or difficult characters as early in the process as possible. One way to do that is to question the applicant with respect to their willingness to perform certain tasks, especially those that the applicant might not be keen on performing, but are nevertheless associated with that position. For example, this job might require you to work on Saturdays. Is that going to be an issue? Assuming that most people would, in fact, prefer not to work on Saturdays, this request is a bit of an imposition. And that's why it's a useful indication of the applicant's interest in the role. Irrespective of whether working Saturdays is actually necessary, it's still useful to ask the question and gauge the response. Because if it's not working Saturdays per se, it will be working late, redoing a project, taking on an unpreferred role, or some other imposition. You get me? The response will not only provide useful indirect information on the applicant's interest, but also on the applicant's character. Think about it. If an applicant really wanted the job, how would she respond? Absolutely. That's not a problem. You can count on me. Or if she really wanted the job and were somewhat clever, how would she answer? You know, that's not something I would ordinarily do. But since I really care about this company and its mission, I'm willing to make an exception here. That's a very smart response because it's going to make that interviewer feel special about something she was apparently willing to do anyway. So it's a simple way of conjuring additional value out of nothing. Clever. In any case, both of those responses indicate a high level of interest. Now, if the applicant is only somewhat interested in the role, she's going to negotiate. This is a sign that she believes that she is on equal footing with the prospective employer, because negotiation is really something that only occurs between perceived equals. The response might be something like, "I can work Saturdays if you pay me double." Now, this might not fly with the prospective employer. However, she's apparently willing to rock the boat and risk losing the opportunity because either A, it has consequently become less attractive to her, and or B, she has other, more attractive options that she is more interested in. In any case, this does not indicate a high level of interest. Lastly, consider the applicant who chooses to become offended at the suggestion. What? How dare you ask me to work Saturdays? That wasn't in the job description. Do I need to report you to the Better Business Bureau? Who do you think you are? This person is a bomb, and you've just performed a controlled detonation. Congratulations. And it's not because she didn't want to work weekends. Think about it. What stopped this applicant from saying, "Unfortunately, I wouldn't be willing to do that"? Nothing. There's absolutely no reason to explode on the prospective employer. And the fact that she did indicates A, a low interest in the position, and or B, a perceived superiority relative to the prospective employer. For better or worse, people don't talk up power hierarchies in that way, but they might talk down them in such a fashion. Such people believe that they're doing the employer a favor by interviewing there. Of course, if they had anywhere better to interview, we'd have to assume they'd be there instead. So this is an arrogant and entitled response. Now, no one has to work Saturdays, right? Some people really value having their weekends free. However, that value comes at a cost. That's why we call them values. They're valuable, they're costly. And one of the costs associated with having such a value might be losing out on certain opportunities. Like, why wouldn't the employer offer the job to the applicant who is just as qualified and is willing to work on Saturdays, right? So, anyone who implements such a boundary is functionally communicating that the potential risk of losing this opportunity is less than the potential harm that working a Saturday would cause. So far, so good? Now let's shift back to testing women in the context of dating. There are many different ways for men to perform controlled detonations on prospective lovers. And ideally, these tests are conducted before the date even occurs, saving both sides a lot of time and energy. One easy way to do this is to ask a woman to send you pics prior to a date. I understand this is going to be a contentious suggestion for some folks, but I think it's a good idea for a number of reasons. Let's explore this further. First and foremost, requesting pics from a woman is kind of a way of making sure that you're both more or less on the same page with respect to the nature of this potential relationship. Like, this isn't going to be a friendly chat or some kind of interview. It's a date with all of its attendant sexual associations and possibilities. This will not only help prevent men from entering into ambiguous interactions with women, but it will give men important information about the woman's level of attraction and aspects of her character as well. And it's very important for men to gauge both of these components as early in the courtship as possible. It should go without saying, but you only really want to go out with women who A, express a very high level of attraction for you, and B, have non-reactive, non-explosive characters. The risks and costs associated with not doing this are just too high for men in today's day and age. So let's run through the various possibilities. If a woman is very attracted to you and is interested in a sexual relationship, how is she going to respond? You guessed it, by sending you some pics, maybe with a little note attached. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. And if she's very interested and somewhat clever, how would she answer? I don't usually do this kind of thing, but you seem like such a nice guy, and I feel like I can trust you. Smart. Now, not only did she do it, but she did it in a way that made the guy feel special, effectively conjuring additional value out of something she was apparently willing to do anyway. Well done. In any case, you can now be fairly confident that the woman in question has a high level of interest in a sexual relationship, and you can feel safer about moving forward. On the other hand, a bomb is absolutely going to explode at such a request. What? How dare you talk to me like that? How disgusting and disrespectful. I can't believe you would ask for something like this. What kind of a man are you? Is that all that you're interested in? Etc., etc., etc. Congratulations! You've just detonated a bomb at a safe distance. Her response communicated in no uncertain terms that she had little interest in a sexual relationship with you, even though she presumably had no problem with you taking her out and giving her your time, energy, and money. Furthermore, she demonstrated that she apparently feels justified in punishing men who violate her expectations with respect to how the courtship, and presumably the relationship, should proceed. Remember, punishment only flows from the high to the low. So, this is a woman who probably thought she was doing you a favor by allowing you to take her out. In any event, she is likely searching for a man to fit into her frame and to provide her a relationship on her terms. Dating her would be a slow castration. Now, when you successfully detonate a bomb, it's important not to argue with her. Don't try to defend yourself or pressure her into compliance or clap back in a critical spirit. Remember, she did you a favor. You should be grateful she showed you who she was before you had to spend $1. If only it were always this easy. Just say something like, completely understandable. Thank you for your time, and move on to the next applicant. This is just one way that men can test women. There are plenty of others, but in the interest of time, we're gonna have to wrap it up here. Just remember, it's not really about the pick. There are even ways for women to demonstrate a high level of attraction and good character while acting demure. The point is to collect reliable data on these metrics before you engage, so that you can make better decisions on how to spend your necessarily limited resources. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below, and please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message. I know you know somebody, because it's word-of-mouth referrals like that that really help to make the channel grow. As always, I appreciate your support and thank you for listening.